Hey, welcome back to Sales Made Easy, the podcast that's hopefully going to make your life a little bit easier. But actually, it's going to make your prospects' lives a little easier. The real key to selling is not some tricks or anything like that. It's really, how do I make it easier on my prospect? How do I make someone's life easier? And if we think about that, that is really the golden rule: do unto others. And so when we're trying to make it easy on other people, that means we got to get them to be open and honest with us. And we got to be consultants. If you're just selling a widget, then sell the widget. But if you're truly trying to help somebody be more efficient at their job, their company more efficient, more effective, more cost effective, that doesn't mean lower price. That means saving cost. Then you got to force some honesty out there. And I bring that up this time of year because this time of year, we have the last quarter of the year crunch, right? Everybody, your boss is saying, hey, get everything in. And your customers are saying, hey, we're probably going to push this off till next year. So I'm going to use a couple Sandler rules. Rule number one, blow the bomb up early. Basically, what that means is if something tends to happen, then expect it's going to happen. And then the other rule is if you feel it, say it. So this is the time of year where you've got people in your pipeline. You want to see if you can move them into this year, the last quarter of this year. And some of those people are thinking maybe we'll move it out to first quarter of 2025. And so you're trying to push it and they're saying, yeah, call me next week. Right. And you're getting some stalls. So here's what I want you to do. And I know you're going to say, Tom, you're crazy on this. But what I want you to do is I want you to suggest moving it out to 2025. I know that's weird. You're going, Tom, that goes against what my boss wants, but everybody wants what I want. True. But you're forcing honesty. When you sit down with a prospect and say, hey, you know what? We're ending October. We're getting into November. Maybe this project, should we push this out to 2025? Giving them the opportunity to tell you what they're thinking, as opposed to, hey, anyway, we can get this closed before 2025. And they're going, oh my goodness, how do I tell them I don't think so? Right? And so they don't tell you. But when you suggest it, hey, maybe we should push this off to 2025. There's a lot going on in December. You might be too busy for this. Now, here's a couple things. You're going to hear some people say, oh, no, we got to do it before that. Great. Maybe we should figure out a timeline because we only got 2 months left. Should we sit down and figure out a timeline as to when we should get together and make this happen? Right? So those that say, hey, we need to do it before, then it's really forcing you to sit down and say, well, then I hate to put this on a crunch at the very last days. Why don't we figure out a timeline to get together and let's put a date on the calendar to get together? See, it helps you create that appointment to get this thing finished. And if they say, okay, let's make it December 15th, and you go, well, the problem is if we do it December 15th, we only have like 1 week to get this done. And so we really probably need to move it out to December 1st. Maybe on the safe side, why don't we meet the week before Thanksgiving, iron out a timeline, and that way we can get things done. Now, the other person that's going to sit there and say, yeah, we were thinking about that. We were thinking about moving it out to 2025. That's when you say, great, not a problem. We're kind of crunched ourselves. Hey, but can I ask you a question? The key is always ask one more question. And see, once you have the prospect relaxed and say, oh, good, you understand we're going to move it out to 2025. I don't have to lie to you. I don't have to tell you falsehoods. I don't have to ignore you, right? Then you can sit there and say, hey, so can I ask you a question before we set up some time to meet 2025? And they're going to go, yes. Before I leave, before I hang up, before we do anything else, can I ask you a question? And they'll go, yes. And this is the point where you have to review the reasons we were going to do this in the first place, right? Because if there is no anxiety or urgency to do this, shame on you, salesperson. You didn't help them discover a reason to really do this. And if you don't have urgency now, you won't have urgency in 2025. So when they say, yeah, we should probably push it back, say, not a problem. Can I ask you a question? Why were you thinking about doing this in the first place? Oh, and how's that going to help you? And so if we did that and it does this, then how's that going to help the production line? And you go back to discovering, is there a reason to really do this? See, too often we got stuff in the pipeline where people kind of want it, but don't need it. Or at least they don't know they need it. And you, Mr. Salesman, Mrs. Salesperson, Miss Salesperson, have not helped them discover, is this a cost-effective way of helping them with their company, with their job, with whatever? So I want you to think about that. You bring up, we're coming into the end of the year. You bring up, hey, maybe we should push this out to 2025. You get one of two answers. No, we got to do it now, in which that now opens up. You set the appointment. Or, yeah, we should push it out, which means you have not done enough of your job to really help them discover, is there a reason to do this? And now you just plant your feet and sit there and talk. There you have it. That's it. Make the last quarter of your life a little bit easier. You're going to get some people, right, to move a little quicker, and you can time and plan it out. And some people you're going to find out they weren't going to move forward in the first place, and you'll have less anxiety. See you next time.